5 powerful secrets to control your mood and money. You will never fix your money problems until you fix your mood problems. That may be hard to hear, but it's true. You can't build a stable financial future if your emotions are unpredictable. Think about it. How many times have you made a financial decision in a moment of frustration, excitement, or fear? What if I told you that emotional control is the secret weapon to financial success? That the richest people on earth didn't just master their income, they mastered their inner world first. In this message, I'm going to reveal 5 powerful secrets that helped ordinary people become emotionally steady and financially secure. These are not just tips, they are life strategies that can shift your entire future. If you're tired of emotional chaos, if you're tired of financial stress, this message is your breakthrough. Stay with me until the end, because Secret 5 is the one that could change everything for you. Most people try to separate their emotional life from their financial life, as if the two operate in different worlds. But that's a mistake, one that costs more than money. The truth is, your emotional decisions are often the doorway through which financial mistakes enter your life. You don't need more money, you need more mastery over your emotions. When a person is emotionally unstable, their financial behavior becomes reactive instead of intentional. Think about it. How many people swipe their credit cards not out of need, but out of a mood? Sadness leads to retail therapy. Stress leads to poor planning. Fear leads to hoarding, while frustration leads to reckless spending. When your emotions are out of control, your money becomes a slave to your mood. Let's get even more real. A person who can't control their anger might lose their job over a single heated moment. A person who can't delay gratification may spend away their savings chasing short-term highs. And someone who's emotionally insecure might try to prove their worth with expensive clothes, gadgets, or a lifestyle they can't truly afford. The problem is not money. The problem is emotional maturity. And here's the challenge. Society teaches us to chase the bag, but it rarely teaches us to manage what we carry inside. That's why people with 6-figure incomes can still be broke. That's why lottery winners often lose it all within a few years. That's why people in relationships argue about finances. It's not always about the numbers, but the emotions behind them: insecurity, fear, control, pride. They all find their way into how we handle money. You can't fix your finances without first fixing your focus. And your focus is directed by your emotional state. Emotions create impulses, and impulses lead to action, especially financial action. So if you don't want your bank account to be a reflection of your bad days, you have to learn how to respond, not just react. Control your emotions, and you begin to control your decisions. Control your decisions, and you begin to control your destiny. And that includes your financial. There's a reason the calmest people often build the strongest wealth. They don't panic in downturns. They don't overspend to impress. They don't chase trends. They stay consistent. Why? Because they're not led by how they feel in the moment. They've built emotional strength that supports financial discipline. You don't need another financial strategy until you master your internal strategy. Because when your emotions are in order, your money starts to follow your leadership, not your feelings. So, if you're serious about changing your financial life, start with your emotional life. That's where the real transformation begins. And if you can conquer your inner world, you will gain power over everything that used to control you, including your money. You cannot master money until you master yourself. That's the truth most people don't want to hear. They want shortcuts, strategies, and fast tracks to wealth. But no one becomes truly successful by skipping over the foundation. Self-mastery. Self-mastery is the ability to govern your thoughts, regulate your emotions, discipline your behavior, and stay consistent with your values even when everything around you is trying to pull you off course. It's what separates those who succeed temporarily from those who build lasting legacies. Think about it. How can you manage a business, a household, or an investment portfolio if you can't manage your own impulses? How can you save money if you can't say no to distractions? How can you handle abundance if you haven't learned to be faithful in times of lack? The truth is, money will always magnify the version of you that exists before it arrives. If you're irresponsible with a little, you'll be reckless with a lot. If you're undisciplined when you're broke, money will only amplify that chaos. Self-mastery means you're no longer driven by feelings, you're guided by purpose. You no longer make choices based on how you feel in the moment, but on who you want to become in the future. It's about silencing the voice that says just this once and strengthening the voice that says not now, because I know what I'm building. Many people want to be rich, but very few want to become the kind of person who can handle riches. They pray for increase, but neglect the inner work that qualifies them for it. But the truth is, money without self-restraint is a disaster waiting to happen. Just look around. Countless people who rose quickly fell just as fast because they never took the time to build the character that sustains success. Real wealth starts inside. It's built when you train yourself to think long-term, to delay gratification, to stay grounded in storms, and to walk in wisdom when everyone else is chasing emotion. That kind of inner strength doesn't come overnight. It's built day by day, decision by decision, habit by habit. The path to financial mastery is paved with internal victories. Waking up early when you feel tired, saying no to what you want now for what you truly want later. Keeping your word when no one is watching, staying focused when everyone else is distracted. These small wins within yourself eventually show up in your financial life. When you master yourself, money stops controlling you and starts serving you. You no longer chase it, you attract it by the person you've become. Because true prosperity is not about what you have, it's about who you are. So if you want to change your money story, start with changing your mindset. Get serious about mastering the person in the mirror. That's where all power begins. That's where wealth begins. That's where legacy begins. If you want stability in your finances, start by creating stability in your emotions. People often look at money problems as math problems. But more often than not, it's not about addition and subtraction, it's about reaction and self-control. Financial chaos is usually a reflection of inner chaos. When your emotions are unpredictable, your financial life will be too. A person who's emotionally stable makes decisions based on vision, not emotion. They think about the consequences before they act. They don't let frustration drive them to impulsive purchases or fear push them into desperate choices. Emotional stability creates a sense of calm, and from that calm, better choices are made. You can't expect your money to be steady when your emotions are swinging from one extreme to the other. Many people suffer not because they lack resources, but because they lack restraint. It's not about how much you earn, it's about how much discipline you have when life gets stressful. Think about it. How many times have people spent money they didn't have simply because they were trying to feel better in the moment? A bad day turns into a shopping spree. A disagreement leads to buying something out of spite. Sadness results in eating out every night. And all of it looks like comfort, but underneath it's just instability being dressed up in temporary relief. Here's the truth. Emotions are expensive when they're unchecked. The more reactive you are, the more you'll pay, financially, mentally, and spiritually. But when you become emotionally grounded, you stop making decisions from a place of pressure. You start responding with wisdom. You take a breath, step back and think, is this in alignment with my goals? Is this helping me grow or holding me back? Emotional stability gives you power. Power over your impulses, power over distractions, and power over the temptation to chase quick fixes. It allows you to build your life, not just react to it. And when you live from that space, your money habits follow. You spend more intentionally, you save with purpose, you invest with clarity. You say no without guilt and yes without fear. The people who build real wealth aren't always the ones with the highest income. Often they're the ones with the highest level of emotional intelligence. They understand timing, they understand patience, they understand when to act and when to wait. They don't need to impress anyone. They're not moved by every opinion or trend. Their identity isn't tied to possessions. That kind of emotional maturity creates the environment for financial growth to happen. And let's be honest, life will always test your emotional stability. You'll face setbacks. You'll deal with pressure. You'll experience loss, conflict, and uncertainty. But the person who has learned to master their emotions in those moments becomes unshakable. And from that unshakable foundation, financial stability becomes not just possible, it becomes inevitable. So if your money feels unstable, ask yourself, where are my emotions unstable? What am I reacting to? What pain am I trying to avoid? What habits are driven by how I feel rather than who I want to become? Because once you find peace within, you start creating peace around you, including in your finances. When you're emotionally balanced, you stop leaking money into emotional decisions. You become a better steward, a wiser investor, and a more consistent planner. Stability is attractive. It draws opportunity, it builds trust, it creates space for success. And the good news? You can start building it today from the inside out. Emotional strength is not just good for your heart, it's good for your future, and your financial life will reflect that. Most people wait for motivation to do what they need to do. They wait to feel like saving money, feel like working, or feel like controlling their temper. But those who truly succeed in life and finances don't wait on a feeling. They live by discipline. Discipline is the engine, motivation is just the fuel. Fuel runs out, but engines keep moving when they're built right. The truth is, you won't always feel like doing the right thing. You won't always be in the mood to resist emotional spending, to say no to something you want now, or to sit down and review your budget. Discipline kicks in when motivation checks out. It's what holds you steady when life pulls you in all directions. It's not glamorous, it's not exciting, but it's powerful. It keeps your vision alive when your emotions are tight. When you live by motivation, your actions become inconsistent. You do what's necessary only when it's convenient, but life doesn't reward convenience, it rewards consistency. That's what discipline gives you. It aligns your daily actions with your long-term vision, even when your mood says otherwise. You get up and go even when you're tired. You stay calm even when anger tempts you. You save money even when you'd rather spend. That's discipline in action, and it determines your direction. Discipline is not about being hard on yourself. It's about being committed to your future self. Every small act of discipline is a vote for the person you want to become. You're not saving money to suffer. You're saving because your future deserves peace. You're not holding your temper because you're weak. You're holding it because your destiny is too big to let a moment of emotion ruin it. Look around. The most successful people didn't get there by being constantly inspired. They got there by being relentlessly disciplined. Athletes train when their bodies ache. Entrepreneurs work when no one's clapping for them. Thought leaders study when others are relaxing. That kind of discipline builds a life others admire, but few are willing to create. And here's the truth most people ignore. Discipline creates motivation. When you start doing what you're supposed to do, even without the mood for it, you feel better. Progress is a powerful motivator. Seeing your savings grow, your habits improve, and your mind strengthen, that becomes the fuel to keep going. But it starts with that first act of discipline when you don't feel like it. So, if you're waiting for the right moment or the perfect feeling to start getting your life and money in order, stop waiting. The right moment is now. The perfect feeling may never come. But discipline doesn't need permission, it just needs a decision. And every decision you make in discipline plants the seed for a future that feels free, abundant, and whole. Motivation may get you started, but discipline will keep you going. And that's what makes all the difference. The environment you place yourself in every day is shaping you more than you realize. It's silently influencing your mindset, your habits, your emotions, and yes, even your bank account. Many people are struggling with their mood and finances, not because they lack intelligence or effort, but because they are living in the wrong environment. They are trying to grow in soil that doesn't nourish discipline or peace. Your surroundings either feed your self-control or starve it. If you are constantly surrounded by negativity, comparison, noise, and consumerism, your energy gets drained. You start chasing distractions instead of purpose. Social media alone can make you feel like you're always behind, like you need to buy something to feel complete, or that your worth is tied to what you wear, drive, or own. Without realizing it, you begin spending money trying to catch up to people who aren't even paying attention to you. That's the danger of an unchecked environment. The same goes for your mood. If you live in chaos, your mind will reflect chaos. If you're always around people who are complaining, blaming, or settling, it affects how you think, talk, and act. Emotional fatigue sets in, and when you're emotionally tired, you're more likely to make poor decisions. Emotional fatigue leads to impulse. Impulse leads to overspending. It's a chain reaction, and it all starts with your environment. But here's the good news. You have the power to change your environment. You can curate it. You can shape it to support the future you want. Start by cutting out the noise. Reduce time with voices that drain you or make you feel less than. Spend more time in spaces that calm your mind and raise your standards. Fill your environment with reminders of your goals. Surround yourself with people who talk about growth, responsibility, peace, and self-retreat, not just entertainment or trends. Even small changes matter. A clean space can bring clarity. A quiet walk can reset your energy. Replacing toxic influences with uplifting ones. Replacing clutter with intention. These steps seem simple, but they're powerful. Because when your environment aligns with your purpose, discipline becomes easier. Your mood improves, you think better, and with a better mindset, you manage your money better. You are not just a product of your willpower, you're a product of your surroundings. Stop trying to force growth in toxic soil. Uproot yourself if you must. Protect your peace, guard your attention, and watch how your emotional life and financial life both begin to flourish. A strong environment doesn't just protect your mood, it builds your future. And when your surroundings begin to support the best version of you, everything else begins to align. One of the greatest powers a person can ever develop is the power to respond instead of react. Life will always bring pressure, problems, and unexpected turns. People will disappoint you, circumstances will test you. But what defines your future is not what happens to you, it's how you respond to it. If you can control your reactions, you can control your destiny. Think about it. How many times have people lost relationships, opportunities, or money simply because they couldn't control a moment of anger, fear, or frustration? A harsh word spoken too quickly, an unnecessary purchase made in a moment of emotional impulse, a decision taken in the heat of stress. These are not just small mistakes. They're habits that, when repeated, shape a life full of regret, and most of them come from not mastering our reactions. Mastering your reaction doesn't mean pretending to feel nothing. It means choosing not to be ruled by what you feel in the moment. It's the maturity to pause before you respond. It's having the emotional discipline to ask, what's the wise thing to do, instead of just reacting based on impulse. This power is especially critical when it comes to money. Most bad financial decisions are emotional. People spend to feel better, not to be better. They buy out of boredom, sadness, or peer pressure. But when you master your reactions, you pause long enough to make decisions based on principles, not emotions. The same principle applies to your mood. If your peace can be taken by traffic, a rude comment, or a delay in your plans, you're living in emotional slavery. But when you develop the strength to respond with calmness, with thought, with self-control, you rise above, you protect your peace. You stop letting the world dictate how you feel. You stop giving your power away to people who don't deserve it. Reaction is automatic, response is intentional. And the more intentional you become, the more powerful you feel. You stop being a victim of your environment. You become the master of your world. It takes practice, it takes failing sometimes and learning, but every time you pause instead of explode, choose patience over panic or wisdom over worry, you're gaining ground. And over time, your life begins to reflect that power. Your relationships become healthier. Your finances become stronger. Your mood becomes more stable. You become someone others can rely on, someone consistent, not controlled by chaos. That kind of strength is rare. That kind of strength is what builds legacies. So if there's one habit worth developing that will change everything in your life, it's this. Master your reaction. In that mastery lies freedom. And from that freedom comes the ability to create the kind of life others admire and you're proud to live.